Hi guys, Patrick here with goldkilns.us again. Last time we were here we had some sulfide ore that we run through the crusher and took it down to 20 mash. And anyhow, here's the buckets you're looking at. On the left hand side is that ore after it's been through the crusher. And then over on the right hand side is some of that ore that I've put into a bucket full of water and mixed it up with water and got it wet. Reason being is when you go to put this on a little miller table, if the material isn't soaked up and wet, it just wants to float off, just makes a big mess. So always take your material and get it saturated and soaked up like this. And today we're going to try and concentrate sulfides out of it. I'll pick this little camera up and we'll go over here and I'll show you what we're going to use. This is little miller table that one of our dealers up in Canada builds. It's a little plastic thing. It's a Black Scorpion fine gold recovery system, and I've got it set up pretty steep today. I don't know if you can see down there, but I've got a couple of tiles underneath there and lifting the back end up. And it's set up pretty steep because I want to get rid of the gang material. I'm not concentrating gold or separating gold from black sand. And I've got a little catch basin underneath it there, and then I got a piece of carpet in it, and the piece of carpet I found at a Home Depot, and it just lays in the miller table, and once it gets wet it just kind of sits there. The miller table's got a corrugated surface, and then with the carpet in there it gives it a little extra thing to capture the sulfide material. Up at the head end of it, I don't think you can see it, there's underneath it here is a little diffuser that spreads the water out over the table evenly, and you want to hook that little carpet underneath that diffuser so the water doesn't get underneath of it and make the carpet float. So anyhow, this is a little rig we're going to use. All your sulfides end up in this carpet, and every once in a while you find a little piece of free milling gold, and it might end up down here in the riffle end of this thing or whatever. We'll see as it goes through. So I'm gonna set the camera up over here on the other side, and I'll turn the water up a little bit on it. Water, this thing runs off a little 12-volt pump down in there, and it's over here and it's plugged into my battery on my pickup right now, long cord on it, so I can be over here in the shade. It'd be 100 and some odd degrees here in Arizona again. Could be a nice day, so shade's kind of important. So anyhow, I'll move this little camera over and I'll get it set up close so we can see, and we'll take after it and we'll concentrate that little bucket down, and then we'll wash the carpet out and I'll show you what we're after so that we can roast it in the next step and further concentrate it by a phenomenon that happens when you roast iron sulfides. So let me get this camera set up close and I'll get right back to you. Hang on. Okay guys, here we are. Got the water turned up. Little pump puts out about 7.5 gallons a minute. It's quite a bit of water, and as much as this is as steep as this is, it ought to take care of what we're after. We'll take a spoonful of this and we'll set it up on the top end of it here. Just go ahead and kind of let it work its way down. Now to keep the carpet from getting completely filled up with other material, I'll mush it down a little bit like that. Heck of a lot quicker than the gold pan, let me tell you. All your material is going down here. Any of the super heavies will end up in these little riffles here. You can tap it a little bit, and sometimes you can see a little bit of gold in there. And then residual stuff ends up in that. Ends up down there in that catch basin. So that if you run it too fast, which I am right now, you can always pick it up and rerun it again, but this is just kind of a down and dirty thing to show you how I do the first initial concentration of these sulfides. They're ending up down there in the bottom of that carpet. And if you let it run for a minute, you can kind of look down there close and you can see how much room you've got in your carpet. And this top end here is getting pretty full. I'm not really too awful worried about it because it ends up down there. I'll just go ahead and keep on running this material through there. Should run a little slower than I am. Enough to kind of keep the bed fluid. And there's a lot of sulfides in this material. This is the pyrites that contain multiple ounce gold in that ore. Well, I'm looking through here and I'm seeing that the top edge of this and all the way down into about here is pretty much full. I might put one more scoop in there. This is different than if you're concentrating gold from black sand, because what we're trying to do here is we're trying to catch sulfides, and of course sulfides are a lot lighter than gold is, since it's an iron pyrite. So the specific gravity is a lot lighter. And I'm looking down here and I see my carpet is just about filled up. Still got a little bit of material to go over here. Pretty much taking all the gang material off. Reach down in here and pull a scoop of that material out of there. So everything ends up in this catch basin, and so you can rerun it again. And let's slow that water down a little bit. This first initial run here looks to me like that carpet's pretty full. So let's just do this. We'll just take the carpet out, wash it out in a 5-gallon bucket, and we'll put it back in and we'll finish it up. Hang on, I'll get right back to you. Okay guys, I'm back. I rinsed that carpet out. Doing a good job, let me tell you. So, show you how to put that carpet in. You just reach up underneath there and lift that diffuser material up a little bit. And just slip that carpet in underneath it just a little ways. And then mash it back down there, and you're all set up and ready to go. And make sure my block is alright. Looks pretty good. Crank the water back up. That's better. So, what we're after is we're after those real fine-grained sulfides. And the majority of the gang material just wanders right off of there. I'm a pretty good gold panner. I like panning gold. It's just too slow. So this does every bit as good a job or better. And it's a whole heck of a lot faster. Once again, I can see these riffles in here filling up with the sulfide material which we're trying to capture. Working great. This time, before I pull that carpet out, we'll shut the water off and let you see the material that we're capturing in these riffles, which is the sulfide material, which contains a buttload of gold that we're going to roast. Use a litharge flux, lead-based flux, to peel it off and get the gold. And there's that bucket. That was about a half a bucket there already. And I'll just let this run for just a minute. And I'll go ahead and shut the water off here, so that you can see what's going on in the riffles here. So in the riffles here, all these little riffles in this carpet are loaded with the sulfides that we're trying to capture. Some of them are going down a little bit in there, but we've got this stuff captured in this secondary trap here. So if I want to, turn the water up slow to begin with until it gets wet. And turn it up. So if I want to, I can take that material out of the bottom there and rerun it all. If I think I've done a really crappy job to begin with. And typically what I do is I'll run the first material off and load this carpet up heavy, and then I'll rerun it a second time to get the very finest stuff out. I'll flatten it out a little bit and slow the water down, but this is kind of a quick and dirty demonstration to show you how we're using this little Black Scorpion Miller table set up steep with a piece of carpet in there, capture all of our sulfides in a real quick fashion to get ready to do our smelting and to pour gold out of it. So turn that water down again, you can see the difference in the color of that carpet in there, and that's where all of our sulfide material is that's got our gold in it. So I'll rinse this piece out. I'll drain the bucket off of the water off the bucket there, and I'll show you what we captured in just a short little period of time. Hang on, I'll get back to you. Hi guys, just for the heck of it, I took that material out of that catch basin, cleaned it out, set up my carpet again, and thought, what the heck, it's going pretty good. Let's just go ahead and run this material over again. I'm going to kind of load this up at the head end of it here, And then I'm going to turn the water up a little tiny bit until it's just pretty much just kind of cleaning off the surface of my carpet. I'll run my spoon down it and just kind of loosen that fluid bed up. And just kind of go ahead and load it up here, like so. Just where it's rolling that larger material out. And we'll just kind of go like this and just kind of go down and help loosen that fluid bed up. What we're after is in the bottom there. The idea is just to keep the top part of the riffles clean so that any of the heavier sulfide material ends up in these little riffles, so to speak. I found this little piece of carpet down at Home Depot. I call them runners, and God, they just work so good. It's just almost crazy how good they work. They're cheap too. So it gives this little miller table a lot more versatility. Sulfides are pretty hard to capture. It'd be nice to have a flotation machine. It'd be nice to have a mill, but we don't. So this is kind of poor boy down and dirty. It's effective though. There we are. Rerun it. Now I'm going to mush it like this one time. I'm going to turn the water back up. And then we'll mush it down one more time. And that'll take the and we'll let it run a little bit, and we'll kind of take a look at it. And I'll slow that water way down. And we'll look at our riffles. Boy, I'll tell you what, it looks to me like 90% of that material was caught in that first pass. Not saying I don't like to run it a couple of times. Doesn't hurt anything, doesn't take a heck of a lot of time, but I'm pretty darn satisfied with what happened the first run. So I'll go ahead and crank it up here. Just loosen that fluid bed up a little bit. I'll look down here in these riffles. I'll turn this a little bit for you. See if I see any free milling gold in here. That stuff that's associated with that sulfide ore is awful fine. So I really wouldn't expect to see any. And you gotta do a better job of cleaning it out. There is a little bit of sulfide material in there, damn little. And just tap on it a little bit. Maybe mush flush it once more. Okay, so I'll shut her down. I'll rinse it out in the bucket, and I'll dump the bucket out and show you what we got. Hang on. Okay guys, I moved out here in the sun. This might show up better here. So, get some of that material here. I'm going to pour some of the water off out of the bucket. Slosh it around here and see if I can hit this gold pan with it. Yeah, pretty good right now. And I'll get a little bit of this water off of here. Leave enough in it where I can fan it back. Oh, let me see. What can you see in the camera here? Okay, we got a little gang material on top, but once I flip this back, you can see what we're after. And there you go. So out of that high-grade sulfide ore, that right there, material up in there is what we're gonna roast, concentrate again, flux, and pour the gold out. Man, it's bright out here. I can't even see into that camera. Hope you can see that. Anyway, crush your material, -20 mesh, concentrate it by whatever method. I use a little miller table with carpet in it. And once we get it to this stage, we'll roast it, and I'll show you a little trick about reconcentrating stuff that has something to do with magnetics. And anyhow, that's what we're after. That's the goodies. So I got like about 4 gallons of this yet to do here today, so I'll get busy and get that finished up, and then in the next video we'll take off and we'll roast it. Thanks for watching. Hang on, I'll get back to you.